Another day, another dollar. How's it going, everybody? My name is Infamous Isaac, and I'm here for another Bleach review series episode. And this time, I'm going to be talking about the Soul Society arc, Part One, which is the sneak entry arc, quote unquote. I don't know if that's really like the official thing, but I'm looking up the arcs list because I'm trying to see where arcs end and start because it's not as clear as it is for One Piece. Like, or at least like for certain parts, like last arc you could tell it was the end of the arc because you're going to a new place and all that. And the next subsequent arcs it's somewhat easier to tell, but it's not as clear cut as it is with One Piece where you're going to different islands and all that. So I have to look up like alright, the filler list and the arcs list so I know where to stop so I can make a video and where not to stop so I can keep going and all that. But yeah, this is part one of the Soul Society arc. We're only halfway done with it. The other half is I think 21 episodes or something, or somewhere around there. But yeah, uh, the arc, the full like saga ends on episode 63, like fully. So for right now though, we're not done. We're not done. But I did want to talk about the first part, right? And save the second part for its own video. That I want to talk about what happened here. So we start off with everybody, Ichigo, Chad, Yasutaro Sato, which is, I mean, that's his full name, but Orihime Inoue and Uryu Ishida along with Yoruichi going into the Soul Society and are sneaking in, right? And at first you start off with some jobbers, like the guy that's guarding the gate. Ichigo beats him, but then you have Gin show up, and Gin is not a jobber. So Ichigo gets worked, and now they have to find a way to get into the Soul Society. They use the Shiba clan, which Yoruichi knows, and they get sent into it by a cannon, by a firework cannon. They get in there and they get split off. Like, yeah, they. No, yeah. I used the right phrasing. They split off, not by choice. So it's Ichigo and Ganyu, which is one of the Shiba clan's members, the little brother of the leader of the Shiba clan. And you have Orihime and Uryu in their own thing, Chad by himself, and Yoruichi by herself. And so now we're following those four groups where as we go through the Soul Society trying to find Rukia where she's being held and trying to rescue her. And Ichigo has the most going on for sure. But I won't talk about him right now. So you have Chad who's fighting all these jobbers. He's going through the backstory of how he met Ichigo, and we're learning more about him. We're learning more about Yasutaro Sato, learning that he's from Mexico or Mexico, and he's from Okinawa. He was born in Okinawa but moved to Mexico when he was like 8 or 10. And his abuelo was murdered and all that, and he vowed to never use his fist to defend himself because his grandfather did that for him. But he fights a captain in the Soul Society. His name is Shinsui Kiyoraku, and I for the longest time, right, ever since I've watched Bleach the very first time, like 2016, I always forget his name. I always forget this guy's name. He's Squad 11's captain, I think, and I never, for the life of me, can remember his name because it's so weird. But I love him. He's so cool. Like he's going to be the thumbnail of this video. It was hard to choose between him and Kenpachi, but he's going to be the thumbnail. And it's awesome because there's an iconic moment here where he's Chad is fighting Shunsui, and the rolling scene happens where it's just the same animation frames of Chad rolling on the ground after getting knocked back from a hit. And it was so iconic, bro. It was literally so iconic. Because that used to be such a running meme in my eighth grade class when I was watching it. It was so hilarious. But we got to that scene. It's iconic. I love it. But then you have Orihime and Uryu, who they meet another jobber, and he loses, so they just keep moving, and they keep getting chased. But they're mostly playing it like a stealth mission compared to everybody else who isn't. Uryu and Orihime have the least going on, so we're just gonna, keep going. I know what's about to happen, so I'm saving that for part two. But as of right now, they have nothing going on right now, or they have nothing going on. Excuse me. Then you have Yoruichi, who also has nothing going on. We barely see them, so we're just gonna leave him at that. Then, actually, No, I'll save that for later. So now we have Ichigo and Ganyu, and Ichigo has everything going on. He's fighting everybody. First, they land. They're fighting a bunch of jobbers, and they split off. Ganyu and Ichigo split off because they have to fight two people, Ikaku and Yumachika. And Ganyu gets Yumachika while Ikaku has to fight Ichigo. So this is a third seat, and there's a bunch of rankings, right? You have captain being the highest, lieutenant being the second highest, then everything else below it. So Ikaku's like third from the top, basically. So he's pretty strong. He's pretty strong. But Ichigo manages to beat him. He gets cut up a little bit, but he goes to find Ganyu. Ganyu beats his guy since Yumichika's the fourth seat, which is also pretty powerful. But they beat them, and now they group up. Then they meet Hanataro, and Hanataro is a guy from the fourth squad who is a healer. They take him captive, but in reality, they he just tags along more, if anything, because everybody else doesn't care about him, which is really sad. So he tags along, and now it's all three of them, and they go and they find Renji. Renji pulls up on them, and he's like, "Yo, Ichigo, I'm gonna blast you real quick." And then they start boxing, but then Ichigo wins because the fight was really cool. And you get to learn a lot about Renji and his lore with Rukia, learning about their history together in Section 78, how they grew up poor, and how Rukia got adopted into a royal family, and how Renji became a lieutenant and all that, which is learning a lot of history between the two, and why Renji cares so much about her. And it's pretty cool. Renji tells Ichigo, "Please, bro, save her. I was too weak to do it. You have to." And he's like, "All right, I'll do it." What's this dude's name? Ichigo passes out from blood loss. Hanataro takes care of him, and they go through the sewers. And Ichigo pops back out like a day later, and he meets Kenpachi Zaraki. Kenpachi Zaraki is a captain, and captains are the big bads. Well, not well, the big bads of this arc. And if you want a comparison, look at captains the same way like vice admirals in One Piece, or like or admirals to some extent. Like the higher, well, not the higher, but captains are strong. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Captains are strong, strong. So do not sleep on them. And Kenpachi is one of them. And Kenpachi's been explicitly looking for Ichigo because he wants to fight somebody strong. Since when he beat up Ikaku, he told his captain, which is Kenpachi, he's like, "Yo, Ichigo is strong. Be careful." To both of them, he actually told that to both of them. He told Ichigo, "Oh, yo, be careful on my captain." And he told Kenpachi, "Oh, be careful. He's strong." But that just riled him up, and now he wants to fight him even more. He's a battle freak. He's literally a battle machine. He goes to pull up on Ichigo. They have this crazy fight. This is one of the fights I've been looking forward to for the past like 41 episodes. So I was super excited. Like the two fights that I was looking forward to, um, for Ichigo and Chad for this part at least, like the first half of it was Ichigo versus Kenpachi and Chad versus Shunsui Kyoraku. Those two fights are some of my favorites, but we haven't gotten to my favorites yet. There's still two more fights that I'm really excited to talk about. But dang, I forgot to mention the MVP for last video, who the MVP of last arc was. Hmm. I'll mention it at the end of this video, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, so after all that, Ichigo wins against Kenpachi. It's a really cool moment. We see Hollow Ichigo for the first time. We see Zangetsu talk to Ichigo like, "Yo, all because you know my name doesn't mean that you know me. You have to learn how to use me, Ichigo. You have to trust me. Even though you let go of your fear, you still have to trust me. Let me give you my power, and let me use yours." And so now it's like a symbiotic relationship. So they're working together, and they beat Kenpachi together since Kenpachi doesn't know his Zanpakuto's name. Yachiru, which is his lieutenant, takes him away, and we learn more about Kenpachi's lore and all that fun stuff. Uh, Ichigo's on the floor dying, bro. Ganyu is going with Hanataro to Rukia because Ichigo is like, "Yo, I'm gonna fight this guy. You go look for Rukia. I'll be there soon." And Yoruichi takes him takes Ichigo, and that's where we find out Yoruichi is actually a girl because she's not just a cat. She's legit like a Konoichi. She is a female ninja, and it's super cool. I've been waiting for so long to talk about this because Yoruichi's one of my favorite characters. I don't know what it is, but like female mentors in anime for some reason, they're just great. I love them. They're my favorite archetype. I don't understand why, but they're so good. I love them so much. That or just tall girls in anime in general. I don't know what it is, but or not Ichigo. Bleach has a lot of that. I love it, so I'm chilling. But yeah, we find out Yoruichi's true identity, and Ichigo, sensing spiritual pressure, goes to the where Rukia is being held, which is the repentant cell. Ganyu and Hanataro go there. They unlock the cell. They find out who Rukia actually is, and that's the person that killed Hanataro, or not Hanataro, Ganyu's brother, and everything, all that nonsense. So Ganyu's kind of losing his nerve right now, but he decides, you know what? We already made it this far. I might as well just do it for Ichigo at this point. And next thing you know, Byakuya Kuchiki shows up in the flesh, ready to kill these people. He makes quick work of Ganyu, like actual quick work. And then you have Captain Ukitake. I don't remember what squad he's from. I don't remember. I think squad. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I don't remember. But he shows up. He's a sickly looking guy, but he's really cool. I think he's voiced by Liam O'Brien, but I do not know. Um, also says I'm watching English. Excuse me. But he shows up, he's like, yo, Byakuya, chill, dog, chill. And then Ichigo shows up, and then they just have this hilarious interaction between him and Rukia, where he's like, yo, listen, I do not care about your opinions anymore. I am here to rescue you, and I don't care if you want me to be here or not. I'm not leaving, I'm leaving with you, and we're done, alright? That's it. So all you ever do is worry and scold me. So just shut up. All right, I'm here to get you. And then they just start arguing and bickering, and they realize, yeah, we haven't changed. And now it's Ichigo versus Byakuya. Byakuya was about to use the scatter senbon sakura, but then Yoruichi's like, no. And then she stops him, and that's where the arc ends, or at least part one. Yeah, I think that's everything. Well, for the most part, everything that I wanted to cover. And this talking about this is like this arc is a severe improvement from what Bleach started as, because like I mentioned in the last episode, the uh the show takes a complete turn from what it was in the beginning, from where Ichigo was just hunting ghosts and hollows and all that, and just doing no monster of the week type things, meeting other new characters. Excuse me. Alright, learning some of the rules for the show, the battle system, the power system, all that. You know, we're learning. This arc takes a completely different turn on it because you're rescuing somebody. There's a more focused goal in the show now, and that's to rescue Rukia. At the very least for this arc, it's to rescue Rukia. So the show's a lot more focused, and there's less of Monster of the Week, even though there are some jobbers in the Soul Society in their the Gote 13, I think that's what they're called. There's it's a lot more focused. There's more focus on the fights, more focus on the story. It's all singular for the most part. Even though we have multiple perspectives, the story is singular. It's not just like, oh, an overarching plot thread, but more like this is what's going on, then this is how we're getting to it. So I like that a lot more. And for that, it's just already higher than what the other part was. And the fights also are getting better. They're not at the point that we see like in 2012 when Bleach was at its peak for animation, but I still love it. Like Ichigo versus Kenpachi was awesome. I love that fight so much because the animation held up really well. It held up super good. And just seeing Ichigo struggle with the fear, but also with his reluctancy to accept the power from his sword because he doesn't understand. He's just swinging his sword, but he's not actually using the sword. Like and that's also the problem. He only sees it as a sword, but he doesn't see it as Zangetsu, which is a completely different uh not omniscient, but conscious, a completely conscious being that is his sword. It's not just a sword, it's Zangetsu, the conscious Zanpakuto that he owns. It's it's both of them together, not Ichigo with the sword. And so him learning that was super cool. It was super cool. And seeing how much of a difference it makes between him and Kenpachi, showing that like, all right, Kenpachi could have won. For wholeheartedly, Kenpachi could have won. But if he if he if he did have what's it called his Zanpakuto's name, he would have won for sure. There's no doubt about it. He was handicapping himself from the very beginning, holding or putting away his spiritual energy, the bells on his hair, giving away his movements, the fact that he doesn't have a Zanpakuto, his Zanpakuto's name, and he was just toying with Ichigo, but not in like, well, I guess in a condescending way, but not completely. So like Ichigo for the most part, A got lucky because of what happened. Oh, I forgot to mention Aizen. I'll mention him after this, but he for the most part, he beat him, but some of it was luck. The other part was an anime boost, so plot armor. But for the most part, Ichigo did win. I can't take that one away from him. Even Kenpachi himself admitted it. Like Ichigo won. As much as Sachiro was like, "Oh, he cheated. There was two of them." He's like, "Nah, he won. It's my fault that I don't have a Zanpakuto." And so he's passed out. But Aizen, right? Sosuke Aizen. I haven't mentioned him yet. He's one of the captains as well. He we're following his plot line and Momo, who's his lieutenant. And Momo is going around seeing that Renji got beat up, seeing that all this confusion and chaos going on. It's kind of breaking the whole organization apart. And the person who she goes to for consultation or like advice, I guess, is Sosuke Aizen, her captain. And they spend the night together. They're talking, they're chilling, they're just having a good time. And she wakes up late because he left early, and she finds his body plastered up or plastered up or put up on a building with a Zanpakuto impaling him, and he's just there like a crucifix. My man Sosuke Aizen is dead, and we need to find who the killer is. And this threw the whole organization into disarray. Somebody killed a captain, and that's not an easy feat. That is wholeheartedly not an easy feat. So it's either another captain or a lieutenant, or like it was foul play for sure. Or was it the Ryoka, which is what Ichigo and his friends have been labeled because they're intruders. And one of the reasons I was talking about was because like Sosuke was killed around the same time that Ichigo was fighting. So not as many people have come for him as they should have, but that doesn't mean that uh, Kenpachi knew that Aizen was dead. That that doesn't change anything. The fight would have happened the same no matter what, because he didn't know, and neither does Ichigo because he doesn't care. He doesn't know who that is. But what's it called? That is also really cool. I like that storyline going on. I like meeting all the captains. It's been so long for me, like learning all the names again, like Captain Unohana, Captain Tozen, Captain Koma something, I don't remember. Komakura, I think is his name. Captain Komakura, Toshiso, Hitsugaya, Gin. How many was that? Wait. Unohana, Ukitake, Komakura, Tozen, Hitsugaya, Gin, uh, Aizen, Kenpachi, Byakuya. Who else? Yamamoto, uh, Kyokura, Kyokura, and who else? Soifon. There you go, Soifon. I think that's, well, if there's 13, I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing then? Because there's 13, so who is the 13th one? Who am I missing that's in here? Oh, Mayuri. There you go, Mayuri's the 13th one. There you go. So that's all the captains. I finally remember all their names, which is great. It's like trying to remember the organization 13 or all the all the admirals and all that in one piece. Like it's difficult sometimes. It's difficult, but I got all their names. I got all their names, and it's cool, seeing all these characters, seeing the lieutenants that I remember for the most part, seeing all the other characters who aren't lieutenants, but somehow they're still important. Like Ikaku, who isn't a lieutenant, but somehow he still plays an important role. Like seeing all these characters after so long is awesome. I love it. It's great for me. And then you have the story as well. The story, since it's a lot more focused, I'm enjoying it a lot more. I don't remember what I gave the rating for the last arc, but I think it was an 8 or something, a 7 or an 8. But this, I'm not gonna give the rating for this one because it's not done. And as a complete thing, I want to give it the rating when it's done. So for right now, I'm just only talking about part one, which is probably already like a 20-minute video as itself or in itself. So I just don't want to make the video too long if I did both parts. But music again overall it doesn't change. It's good. It's great. The set pieces like the Soul Society. I think the Soul Society set pieces only really get interesting until it's the Serite. So that is interesting because it's also foreign, but in general, everything in this is so foreign. So it's cool to see. It's interesting because it's different from the living world. So there's a bunch of different rules, like the Seki Seki walls or whatever, the repentance things that suck away spiritual pressure. Spiritual pressure in general, we already know about it before, but just seeing how it applies here, hearing about the fact that Renji and Byakuya were holding back in the living world because they had restraints on them, like that's crazy. There's just so many different things that apply differently in the Soul Society than it does in the living world. So it's cool. Like it's really cool. And characters overall, characters the same as usual, but now we have more of them, and I'm loving them. I'm loving the captains. Well, for the most part, I'm loving their lieutenants, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. It's what's it called? It's been pretty lit so far. It's been pretty lit. And if I had to give an MVP for this part, I'll first give an MVP to the arc before, to the substitute Soul Reaper or Shinigami arc. The MVP of that is Ichigo. There's just no doubt. And it's not even like he did so much. It's legit. We've seen Ichigo do the most in that arc. It's like it's like seeing LeBron James go to the finals and win the finals MVP when he dropped like 40, 20, and 20, and thinking, oh yeah, I mean I could still give it to Andre Iguodala though. And it's just like, no, that's LeBron. Ichigo is a what's it called? He did most of the heavy lifting. Oh, 70% of the heavy lifting. The other 20 was training, and the other 10 was from his friends, aka Uryu, because he was the only one that really had his powers at the time. So MVP of the arc, Ichigo for sure. And then for this arc, or at least the first part of it, Ichigo again. There's no doubt Ichigo this time earned it though. Like, well, he earned it last time, but this time like he earned it in style is what I'm trying to say. Ichigo pulled up, fought three people in a row, and is still alive, and it's about to fight a fourth. Like my man Ichigo is doing everything in his power to save Rukia, because of his code of repaying her for saving his family, and his friends are all coming along with him to do it, even though they have no real reason. Like Chad said it himself. I don't know this girl too well, but if Ichigo's gonna go through the trouble, I'm gonna go with him because if Ichigo's serious about this, I'm gonna help him out no matter what. I'm gonna try my best that I can. And Orihime just likes Ichigo. There's just no doubt about that. Uryu, he's just a good guy. As much as it seems like a Sasuke Part Two or Shippuden Sasuke type thing, he's a good guy. But yeah, like Ichigo definitely the MVP back to back. There's no doubt about that. But overall, the first part of the Soul Society arc, banger, absolute banger. The only part that was kind of boring to me was the beginning, but that was because we were just getting introduced. We saw the Shiba clan, which I wasn't too interested in, but it was cool. It was cool. And all we have next is the second part, the Soul Society arc part two, the rescue arc, where we're gonna see how Ichigo plans to rescue Rukia. The madness that's about to ensue, bro. I can't wait. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching as always. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. I I know it means a lot to me. It makes this thing possible. Makes me want to continue. Not want to, but more like it helps me continue. I'll always want to continue YouTube with the way that they're going because right now, like, I literally got happy off of seeing a new subscriber. It was awesome, bro. It was so sick. It may not mean a lot to other people, but to me, it definitely means a lot. Like having a new subscriber, it's it's one person, but the fact that it's one person makes it even better. Like it's so fire. But yeah, uh, if you like the video, again, consider subscribing. I try to do this as frequent as I can. I've been uploading a lot more than usual, or at least for like the past month, I've been uploading a lot more than what I was. So I hope that's an incentive to stay around. I'm putting my passion into these videos, so I hope it comes off that way. But yeah, enough rambling about that. As always, until next time, I'll be talking about the Soul Society arc in the next video, or in the next Bleach video, excuse me. I don't know what the next video is gonna be, but yeah, as always, I'll check y'all out. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and yeah, peace.